Hey everyone, it's Justin and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are celebrating the Trinity Stamps LLC July 2026 release with this amazing YouTube hop filled with so much inspiration. Now we also have a giveaway going on. Trinity Stamps is giving away a $25 gift certificate to their store. I have all of the details for the giveaway down in my description below for how you can enter and when the deadline is. Now let's get into some wonderful fishbowl card making. We are going to be using the circle-shaped card dies, the Fishbowl Circle Card add-on die set, the Tiny Aquarium Elements die set, and the Tanks So Much Starring Sentiment die set. And all of this is going to come together to make the cutest of cards. So we're going to start with getting a card base ready using the circle-shaped card die set. And here I've got it die cut just from my standard card base white cardstock, and I'll set that aside for later on in our creating. Now, pulling in the Fishbowl Circle Card add-on die set, I've prepared a handful of die cuts from this set that I've cut from various colored cardstocks, and we're going to use this to decorate the various elements of our card. I've also pulled in some designs from the Tiny Aquarium Element die set that we'll use in addition to sort of jazz up our card, but we're going to do a little bit of ink blending first. Using Siren Song Stellar ink, which I thought was such a perfect ink for this card, we're going to use a blending buddy to blend this ink onto the aqua cardstock that I've prepared. And I'm just sort of blending it along the bottom of our fishbowl, and I want to get a nice deep blend going on that really darkens up that cardstock. I'm also going to use my blending buddy with the Siren Song ink with the top oval portion, which we're going to use to sort of add that fishbowl layered effect that gives a flat top surface to the water. Once I'm satisfied with the amount of ink blending, I'm going to tap a little bit of that Siren Song ink onto my glass mat and use some water to wet it down. And after I've got enough water, I'm going to pick it up with a clean watercolor brush and begin splattering it onto our prepared die cuts. And I just think that this splatter effect is really fun, especially when working with water-based scene cards. Now I'm going to pull in some more elements for our card to ink blend, starting with this Easter Island statue that I'm going to blend up with some Woof Stellar ink along the light gray cardstock that I've prepared. I'm just going to blend this along the bottom to sort of darken up the image, and I'm also going to use that Woof Stellar ink on the little rocks that I've die cut from the Tiny Aquarium Elements die set. Now, after my rocks and my statue are blended up, we're going to move on to the next color for our blend, which is going to be Stupid Cupid Stellar ink. And this coral ink, I'm going to blend up with the little piece of coral that I have cut out from some coral cardstock. The Stupid Cupid ink is going to just add a little bit of nice shading to it. I love how I'm getting that variation of color. And then we're going to move on to some Prom Queen Stellar ink for our little starfish. I've die cut the starfish from some light pink cardstock, so adding that prom queen color, which is definitely darker, adds just the right amount of shading. Now we are going to blend up with some Weeping Willow Stellar ink, the little sand mound that's going to sit at the bottom of our fishbowl. I've got my little blending brush and I will begin just sort of blending along the bottom edge of the little sand mound. And then we are going to move on to a little bit more ink blending, moving on to some Guppy Stellar ink, which is probably the most appropriate color to be used for this card, which I'm going to blend for the body of our little goldfish. I'm going to use that Guppy ink on some light yellow cardstock, and it complements it so perfectly. Now for the little pieces of aquarium kelp, we're going to start by using a little bit of fake plant, and this is going to get blended onto the larger piece of kelp, just going from the center bottom portion of the plant outwards to add some really nice shading. I love how this fake plant color works with the green cardstock that we've selected. And then the last ink we're going to use is Overzealous, which is going to go on that tiny little piece of kelp, which is in the top sort of left center of our sticky mat. Now I am going to just add the smallest amount of ink to give a little bit of shading, and once I have all of that all situated, we're going to be able to move on to the next step of our card, which is assembling our fishbowl. Now with the assembly, I have all of my elements ready to go, and I've got them all die cut in advance. What we're going to do is we are going to start with the fishbowl base, and I am going to adhere the fishbowl water first. Using a liquid adhesive on the back of the main water bowl portion, I am going to sort of get it nicely nudged into place. Now you're going to be able to tell which side is the top because it's got the larger oval. The base portion, which should be on the bottom, is smaller. And then once I've got the water in place, I'm going to do the top of the water and adhere that directly on top of the base. Now, we want to make sure that we've got the top of the bowl situated where that lip would be. I've used a slightly darker blue cardstock just to sort of give a little bit of a difference in color. And now we can start putting our elements inside of our bowl. I'm going to start by using that little sand mound just to sort of ground our little scene. I'm going to get this all nice and flush to the edge of the bowl portion of water. And I'm actually going to take some of the kelp and stick it behind the sand mound to make it look a little bit more dimensional. Now there are two pieces to the Easter Island little statue, and you want to adhere the face onto the base portion and then take the entire unit and adhere it accordingly. I thought it'd be cute if we adhered it at a little bit of an angle like it was tilted, and then I also wanted to use our little coral piece and slightly tuck it behind our statue, having it peep around, and I find that a technique like this really helps add dimension to your scene. Now for our smallest piece of kelp, I'm going to also put that kind of behind our sand mound on the right portion of our little fishbowl and cover it up with the largest of the rocks that we die cut and ink blended. I'm going to add a second rock as well. I decided not to use the third rock because I thought it would just be a little bit too much for the small space we were working with. And with our little scene put into place, we can now work on assembling our goldfish. Now this goldfish, it actually die cuts out quite a bit of little segments. But what I love about how small the segments are, you kind of have to poke them out if you want them removed. Otherwise, you can keep them all intact and use them. And that's what my plan was. So I am putting liquid adhesive on the back of the part of the goldfish frame that I wanted to adhere, which I've die cut in some orange cardstock, adhering it onto that white outline base. And then I'm going to take the body and the face piece and put them into place onto our base with a little bit of liquid adhesive. So I'm using a combination of tweezers and my fingers. I also want to make sure to get the little fin of the fish nicely into place, and we've of course got to give him a little bit of face. So he's got an eyeball that I've assembled with a couple different layers and a nice little smile to just pop on, and he is just the cutest little goldfish. I think you could have so much fun with playing with different colors with this guy. You could even have fun using like beta goldfish colors. You could play with all of the little different sort of cutouts and make a rainbow fish. I just think the possibilities are endless, but we're going to stick with the orange and yellow goldfish for now. And once I have that into place, what we can move on to next is putting a little bit of Celeste sparkle spots onto our bowl just to fill up a little bit of some blank space and also give our cards some much needed sparkle. I think all cards need a little bit of sparkle, and the Trinity Stamps sparkle spots are definitely some of my favorite embellishments on the market. I'm just going to put 3 of them into place, and I'm going to use my tool to get everything positioned. And what we're going to move on to next is using the Tank So Much starring sentiment and start to adhere our unit that we're actually going to put inside of our card. I'm using the residual Siren Song ink that's on my blending buddy to blend up the bottom of the outline portion that I've die cut from some super light blue cardstock. And then what we're going to be able to do is start to adhere each of the letters and words into place. So what you're going to want to make sure to do, this die cut does die cut out most of the letters as individual. I think that there is the pairing of S and O for so, and I also know that there's a pairing of 2 words for much. So you just want to make sure that you're putting enough adhesive on the back that it's going to stick to your backing piece, but you also want to make sure to not put too much on, that when you add pressure to the piece when adhering it, that the liquid adhesive would sort of smear out from underneath. underneath. So I'm carefully putting each of the letters into place, trying to be mindful as best as I can with the spacing. I don't want it to look too crowded on one end and too open on another. And then with the K that comes with the word tanks, there is this cute little sort of goldfish that you can create with the word. So I'm making another orange and yellow goldfish, and he's got a little eyeball and a little smile, and I just think he works so perfectly. You even have a little fin to put on him. It adds such a fun amount of character to this sentiment. Now we're going to now spell out the word tanks on top. You could also have a lot of fun with the different color choices. I wanted to stick with the yellow because I thought that it went really nicely with the blue and the white that we've chosen for the sentiment already. And I'm using the same sort of process as I did with the sentiment below to ensure that my letters are nicely spaced, not too crowded, and fitting into each designated spot. Liquid adhesive and tweezers will be your best friend for this. Now we can move on to assembling the end of our card. So what we'll do is put some liquid adhesive on the back of our fishbowl unit, and then we are going to adhere this directly onto our circle card base. Now your circle card base could be a top fold, it could be a side fold. I decided it was going to be a top fold, and I'm going to also use some liquid adhesive on the back of my sentiment unit to pop inside of my card. I didn't want to use foam tape because I didn't want there being too much dimension inside the card that there'd be difficulty in folding it shut, but this is going to fold pretty flat, and oh my goodness, that sentiment is just so darn cute, and it is perfect for this card. Trinity Stamps really hit it out of the ballpark with this new July release, and I think that the circle card add-on fishbowl die set is so cute, and the Tank So Much sentiment is absolutely perfect. I can't wait to make more fishbowl inspiration cards and to share them with you later on this month. Now be sure to enter in for that giveaway for the $25 Trinity Stamps gift certificate. I do have the information for that link down below, along with all of the products used in today's project. Now, of course, I gotta take a moment to say thanks so much for stopping by my YouTube channel and hopping along in today's July release YouTube hop. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see what you create with the brand new Trinity Stamps July 2026 release. Happy crafting, everyone, and I'll see you real soon. Goodbye.